Hey, this is Doug Ross. I wanted to show you something I've been working on related to business intelligence and visualization, and hopefully my streaming is actually working now. Um, what it is the idea that visualizations of data could be assisted by being able to immerse yourself in the data. And I'm controlling the screen with some keys right now, but this particular visualization represents a clinical trial. And the colors of each sphere represent a person in the trial, and the colors themselves represent ethnicity. And some of the variables represented by the X and Y axis are lifespan after the trial, and height, weight, and so forth. So there's several different codependent variables, and we're able to perhaps see some things that otherwise would be difficult if you used a programming language like R, which is obviously fantastic and very powerful. You can create 3D models, but they, so far as I know, they're static. And the idea that I have is to allow a user easily to manipulate data by immersing themselves in it like a first-person shooter game. So you'll notice, if you can read the fine print up top left, I'm calling this FPS-BI, or first-person shooter business intelligence. And this is the first demo I've done with some bogus clinical trial data that I've mocked up. The idea is that you can kind of go through the data and see interesting anomalies. Now I'm going to zoom out, and then I'm going to rotate the model, and we're going to be able to see some interesting things related to ethnicity in this trial. And specifically, if you notice, there's a clump of bright colors here, and let's make this up and assume this is people of Asian descent, for example, and they have an outcome in that is highly clustered. Now, it may be, my suspicion is that it would be difficult if you had a conventional scatter plot, because of the fact that you can't really rotate it. Some of the data may be hidden, or it may be at an angle that is not helpful. And the idea behind FPS-BI is to allow you to investigate really by immersing yourself in the data. And you can actually go through, and if you see nodes of interest, well, we'll find a cell here of interest. Like here's an outlier as an example. And we'll click on this, and we can get record detail, and we can pull this over and continue working. Perhaps. New feature, I'm just playing with this, but in any event, the idea is that you could layer, and again, this is incomplete, but I thought I had enough complete that I could show it, that you could bring up several details, and ideally you might even have a line to the particular node showing that the detail is linked to that particular node, and be able to investigate and kind of note any specific areas of interest. So anyhow, this is my little demo. I've kind of kludged together. I've kind of morphed D3 and a great open source gaming engine called Babylon. And D3 is obviously the well-known visualization library in JavaScript. And so this is pure thin client. It could AJAX out to a backend server if it needed to. But in this case, this is just using a static CSV file that it's loading off the server. And so there's no real dynamic data being fetched here, but you could easily do that. So I'm going to continue to work on this, but I thought I had it looking interesting enough that I wanted to show it. And my suspicion is there's absolutely no one watching this on YouTube. I don't really have any followers on YouTube, but in any event, maybe I can save this video, ideally, and be able to share it with some folks who might be interested. So take care, guys. Have a great one, and I will talk to you soon.